Even on rich mix, we cannot stop them. McLaren drive past us, and Massa's going to get past us as well. This is an absolute disaster, it seems. And Jenson Button now, I think, is going to secure that 10th place. We don't try to defend. He was just too quick for us, really, and we now drop down to 11th place. And now onto lap 29. I think all hope of points is out of the question here. Massa has got ahead of us, and it's all gone downhill since that final pit stop. And Romain Grosjean, the last person that we want to beat us, and our teammate has unfortunately gone past us. It looked like it could have been 10th place, but we angrily smashed our car into the wall, and I was completely frustrated with that result. We didn't have a pace all weekend. Hey, what's up? It is Dan, or DMath96 here, and welcome to part 6 of our F1 2016 career mode with Haas F1, and we are here at the Monaco Grand Prix. It's for dueling the crown, the most glamorous venue, but importantly, it is the race that every driver wants to win. And here we are with our new downforce upgrade added to the car from the previous round in Spain. There it is on the left hand side of the screen. On the right hand side you can see we are 5th in the vehicle performance comparison race, behind Red Bull and Williams, and would have been ahead of Williams if it wasn't for their upgrades that they bought in for this weekend. Last time out in Spain, it was a disappointing race, and we don't really want to talk about it. We finished down in 14th. It was a struggle all weekend. We qualified way down the order, and we didn't have a brilliant race whatsoever, but we're hoping to regain our form here in Monte Carlo, and it's a track which I'm sort of looking forward to, because Monaco tends to put in very exciting qualifying results as shown in previous years, and also very, very exciting races, such as in 1996 when it rained and Olivier Panis took that fantastic victory from all the way down 14th on the grid, I do believe. I don't think there's any rain forecasted for this weekend, however, but I think we can hope for a good result as we're just now ready to start our final lap for the track acclimatisation test. And the first 2 laps went okay. The first one was a bit of a difficult one. The second one, we just missed out on the purple score, but in the last one, as you see, we did get the purple score and the 50 resource points for the track acclimatisation test. We managed to get the 30 resource points from the qualifying pace, and we didn't attempt the tyre wear test. But there you can see on the screen, we are now investing in our first model of drag for the next round in Canada, and that should help with straight on speed. But now, it's time to move on to the qualifying report. The first qualifying session at the Principality of Monaco sees championship leader Lewis Hamilton fastest ahead of Kimi Räikkönen. A big surprise, however, was Ricciardo, as he just edged into Q2 at the expense of Nico Hülkenberg.
What a great performance!
Yeah, thank you. It was a massive improvement compared to the FP3. We did make some changes on the car and seems to work quite well.
Mercedes returned to their 1-2 form in Q2, this time with Nico Rosberg taking the top spot. Fernando Alonso's run of top 10 performances ends as he just missed out in 11th as teammate Jenson Button progresses. But the biggest shock of the day came in Q3, as just by the skin of his teeth, Dan Phillips pulled off a stunning lap in the closing stages of the session and snatched pole off Lewis Hamilton by only 8 thousandths of a second.
They obviously knew they had the pace, so good for them, and you can't overtake here, so I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but hopefully we might have some rain, who knows.
Nico Rosberg and the 2 Ferraris and Red Bulls fill in the next few positions as Romain Grosjean completes Haas's best ever qualifying with 8th. So it's a new face on pole position here in Monaco, and it's Dan Phillips who will lead Lewis Hamilton going down towards Saint-Devote, with Nico Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel completing row 2. The 2 Red Bulls line up behind on row 3 as Romain Grosjean completes a brilliant qualifying session for Haas in 8th. Felipe Massa starts in 9th alongside Jenson Button as his teammate Valtteri Bottas suffered a nightmare to start down in 14th. Indonesian Ricciardo will be looking to impress after qualifying in Q2 for the first time as the 2 Renaults and Saubers complete the grid for this weekend's Monaco Grand Prix. I don't think I can describe what happened in qualifying. We are starting on pole position here in Monaco, and by the smallest of margins from Lewis Hamilton, 8 thousandths of a second. It was a brilliant last lap, and I'd never expected to get pole position, and just to do it by 8 thousandths is just amazing, and that puts us in prime position to take this victory here in Monaco, and it would be our first if we manage to hold off the charging Mercedes drivers. But there you can see the Drivers' Championship was in the bottom left-hand corner. You can see Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. The gap has been reduced to 1 point after Rosberg's 2 wins in the previous 2 rounds. And there you can see ourselves looking good here, in a good position. Could we surprise everyone here and take the victory from pole position? But it's going to be a difficult task. Like I said earlier, we've got a lot of fast drivers behind us. You just saw Kimi Raikkonen there. He'll be starting in 7th. Maybe he could pose a threat if he can make his way through the field. But we are underway for the formation lap from pole position. It's going to be an interesting race. I think it's all going to come down to the strategy. So we've got to wait to and see what everyone does. But now we move on to the final corner, and the formation lap is just about to end here in Monte Carlo. And we are going to get underway for the race, and it's going to be a short run down towards turn 1, so we've got to try and get the best of starts here if we want to stay ahead of the 2 Mercedes drivers. But here we are in our first place grid position, and the lights are getting ready to illuminate here for the start of the duel in the F1 calendar. It is go time here in Monaco. We are underway. It's a brilliant start from us. It looks like we're going to keep the lead going down towards San Devos. But look at Nico Rosberg. He's passed Lewis Hamilton going down into turn 1. That is crucial for the championship. They are 1 point separated. Meanwhile, we have managed to pull off a good lead going into Massenet. Now, I think we're at least a second ahead of the 2 Mercedes drivers. So a fantastic start for us. But the big question is, can we hold this on? Can we hold to this, onto this lead and take a fantastic victory here in Monaco? We are already 1.3 seconds, I think that was, ahead of Nico Rosberg. But in the practice and qualifying sessions, we were struggling here in Sector 2. So it is going to be tight, I think. It is only the first lap. But now going on to the cinematic shot, we can see that's Romain Grosjean into the wall. And that's another car. I think that's Valtteri Bottas. Both cars out of the race. And they've lost I think that both have lost their front right. So let's have a look at onboard Romain Grosjean. And there you can see one of the Manners completely sideswiping Grosjean, and the other Manor sideswiping Bottas, and both losing their front right wheel, and Marcus Ericsson getting tangled up in that as well. So all chaos out of the tunnel here on lap 1. But here we are at the end of the lap, and we are going to cross the line and start lap 2 in the lead here in Monaco. We are 1 second ahead of Nico Rosberg. I think it's going to be tight here, and I don't think we're going to win this race already. It's still a long way to go, and we do have 2 incredibly fast Mercedes drivers behind us. I think it is going to be close, but we're going to have to wait for pit stops as we now go into the tunnel here on lap 2, and you can see the front runners slowly pulling away from the rest of the field as we go out of the tunnel. There you can see the debris from Grosjean and Bottas earlier, and we outbrake ourselves slightly, cutting the corner of the Nouvelle chicane. So we need to be careful on our brakes there going to that corner. But now we're moving on to lap 3. You can see we are still in the lead. We're now 1.5 seconds ahead of Nico Rosberg, so we are really pushing here, and we set the fastest lap of the race going into lap 4, and we keep that 1.5 second gap to the Mercedes driver behind. So we're doing a good job maintaining this lead here. As we're about to start the 5th lap of this Grand Prix, you can see Nico Rosberg is in second, holding up a battle with Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo behind. We nearly hit the wall going into Rascat, so we need to be careful there. We don't want to be running wide, and especially at Monaco, it's not a track where you want to run wide as we just start the 5th lap now, and you can see we have set a fast lap nearly a second quicker than our previous lap, and we are keeping that gap to Nico Rosberg. But at the start of lap 7, we just finished the first sector. Rosberg has been catching back up here, and you can see on the mini-map there is a small train forming with Nico Rosberg at the front of it now, behind us in second position. And this is where we're going to be feeling the pressure, I think, because we do have some quick drives behind us. We finished the 7th lap of the Grand Prix. I don't think Nico Rosberg is in DRS range at this point, but Lewis Hamilton has gone into the pits, so that has launched Daniel Ricciardo to the back of Nico Rosberg, and this could be an interesting one. The Red Bull is very much suited to this track as we slightly scrape on the barriers there. At least it wasn't serious. We didn't really suffer any major damage so far, but Nico Rosberg, there you can see the arrows on the screen, and he is very close. He doesn't have a look going into the Nouvelle chicane, and again we go very late on the brakes, going slightly wide on the Nouvelle chicane as we now move on to lap 11. Sebastian Vettel, we just saw, set the fastest lap of the race, but we are now half a second ahead of Nico Rosberg. Daniel Ricciardo keeping that gap close behind us as well. It seems to be us 3 leading the pack at the minute, no one else really closing in significantly, and pit stops are about to take place. You can see now we are leading Nico Rosberg and Daniel Ricciardo, no one going into the pits as of yet. but we seem to be getting the better traction out of Sector 3. That seems to be our strong point at the minute. Sector 2 is most definitely our weak point, but now we move on to lap 14. Nico Rosberg went into the pits on the previous lap, and now Daniel Ricciardo now takes the lead of this race. We are going to the pits this lap on the ultra soft tyres, and I can tell you now that unlike most drivers who have gone to pit on the super softs, we are going to be going onto these soft tyres. The team think this will be a better strategy for us, and now we need to hope that we rejoin ahead of Nico Rosberg. There you can see a lot of back markers going past. That is Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, as well as Nico Rosberg just behind, and we are going to get ahead of Nico Rosberg just about. There is Sebastian Vettel just ahead, but we are ahead of Nico Rosberg, and you can see just ahead of me there, Sebastian Vettel is on the ultra soft tyres. And surely that means that Vettel was doing a two-stop, and of all the tracks to do a two-stop strategy on, Monaco is certainly not the one to be doing it, especially because of its difficult overtaking opportunities. But there you can see Daniel Ricciardo has rejoined ahead of us, so he is now effectively in second position, I do believe. But Sebastian Vettel giving him a very hard time on those faster tyres. They've both been side by side. This is excellent racing. We're even joining this battle now, going down into Mirabel. We're not going to get ahead of Vettel. We are still side by side, making contact with barriers, and Vettel just stays ahead of us, going into the low hairpin. And we are now effectively third in this race, I do believe. Depends what tyres Lewis Hamilton is on, but they can see a very big train that I believe we were stuck behind back markers for some time. But now with 20 laps remaining, we are now effectively battling Ricciardo here for what could be a very important position. Lewis Hamilton there is in the lead. Absolutely horrendous corner cut on Sandy up there. But we are now behind Sebastian Vettel. We're still behind now on lap 19 of this race. Lewis Hamilton is in the lead. We are yet to see what tyres he is actually on though. But there we almost hit the back of Sebastian Vettel going into Raskas, and he peels off into the pit lane. So that has now put us into third position behind Ricciardo. Rosberg moves into fourth. Lewis Hamilton is on the super soft tyres, so he is in the lead of this race. Another awful corner cut going into Sandivart. But the thing is, Hamilton pitted so early on lap 8, surely he must be doing a two-stop. There's no way the super softs can last nearly 30 laps on this track. So if my calculations are correct, we are now battling for second place with Nico Rosberg, and Daniel Ricciardo made the right call to pit for the super softs. I think it's going to be difficult to challenge Ricciardo here. Rosberg had a little look going into the Nouvelle chicane on that lap. Now we move on to lap 24, and he's not going to have he's not going to make a challenge here, and we stay ahead in that third place position. But we move on to lap 25, and the virtual safety car has been deployed. This is very interesting here. I don't think this is going to make much difference to the race, but we're going to have a look at why the virtual safety car is out now. And there you can see that is Nico Hülkenberg battling with Fernando Alonso, and then he just loses it, hits the wall, and I believe he's lost his front wing, and then he just parks the car in a random position. I think he did rejoin. Yes, he did. I think he was waiting for the Renault driver to get past, but there you can see now the virtual safety car has ended. It made no difference whatsoever. We are still ahead of Nico Rosberg. Of course, you can't overtake underneath the virtual safety car situation, but we are now still in that third position, trying to hunt down Daniel Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton, but I think it's going to be a very difficult task. But back markers will come into play very shortly, as especially around Monaco it's going to be difficult to lap these guys. You can see the blue flags from the marshals there, and Lewis Hamilton, I think, has gone into the pit lane. Yes, he has. We are on board with him now, and he is fitting the ultra soft tyres. So it's a two-stop strategy for Hamilton. What is he thinking? This is his championship lead that he is thinking about. And not only that we are going to finish second, not only Daniel Ricciardo is going to win this race, but surely now Nico Rosberg is going to head into the Canadian Grand Prix as championship leader. He is trying to still find a way past us on those faster tyres, but we are going to lap Nico Hülkenberg. That will hopefully give us some breathing space. And now we've got to get past Marcus Ericsson as quick as possible. Again, apologies for the dreadful corner cuts. And you can see behind now, I think Nico Rosberg lost a lot of time on lapping his fellow countryman Hülkenberg. But you can see he is slowly catching up now as we try to lap Marcus Ericsson. And we have to go the long way round, and we stay around the outside there of that final section. And what a move. I know it was on a back marker, but still an excellent move on the Sauber driver. Now we've got to hope that he holds up Nico Rosberg, but I don't think it's going to be likely. I think Rosberg has cleared Ericsson with ease. and you can see the tyres are slowly starting to go off now. The front tyres, especially now on lap 32 of this race, Rosberg again I think was going to have a little look going into the chicane. We outbrake ourselves slightly, having to cut it a little bit but not severely enough to warrant a penalty. We've got to keep calm here, and we've got to try and fend off Rosberg, and especially on these slower tyres we've got to keep an eye on the cars behind as well, because if we make a mistake we could not only lose out on second, but we could lose out on a podium finish, especially the fact that the cars behind, I think that is Max Verstappen and one of the Ferrari drivers, are catching up very slightly as we move on to lap 36. Not long left to go now. Daniel Ricciardo looks certain that he's going to win this race. We are going to finish in second, it seems, but it could have been the win, but we decided to go on the soft strategy just to play it safe, really. We knew it would have been a very difficult challenge to try and keep this victory, especially that we started on pole position. But here we are on the last lap. Rosberg is behind us in third. You can see the other cars are also closing. Rosberg trying to go for one last chance down the outside, and we hold him off, and he has lost time, and he is now falling into the clutches of Max Verstappen in fourth position. And it looks like now that second place, our first podium season, is going to be ours. Meanwhile, back on board with Daniel Ricciardo, who is going to enjoy his first victory of the season. An excellent drive from the Red Bull driver, and it's a first win for Red Bull in several years, since 2014. But here we are around the final corner. We are going to lead Nico Rosberg across the line, and it's going to be our first podium. Get in there! An excellent race from us. It may have been a pretty boring race for the most part of it, but still, we have taken second place behind Daniel Ricciardo, who has won. What a way to redeem ourselves after the disappointment of Spain. Nico Rosberg takes third. Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, the two-stop was a mistake for them, but Rio Haryanto scoring 2 points in manner. Excellent form from him. As we look at the Drivers' Championship standings, Nico Rosberg is your new championship leader. He has overtaken Lewis Hamilton, leads him by 8 points. We now move up to 7th in the championship, rocketing our way up after that excellent podium finish. And you can see in the Constructors' Championship we are now 4th ahead of Williams, and Manor finally getting their first career points and putting their name on the Constructors' board. And as we go into the Canadian Grand Prix, we can hope to keep this form up. It's a good track of mine. It's really been good for me in the past, so we can hope to have another good result there. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And you can just see there that we have beaten Sergio Perez in our rivalry now, so we'll be getting a new rival for the Canadian Grand Prix. Until next time, guys, it's been DMAT96. I'll catch you guys later.